There's actually a lawsuit today that's first jury trial in the country over these hospital protocols, where they had a young woman with Down syndrome. They basically euthanized her. They gave her a DNR order, even though she didn't have one. And the father has just been wonderful. It's a Shara family.
Why did they do that? They euthanized her for what?
I've seen this. I have reviewed records from these hospital patients, and they'll euthanize them. They need the bed. They said, well, they're going to die anyway.
What was this person in the hospital for?
COVID protocol. So,
and they wait. So they were in the hospital with COVID, and they gave them something to kill them?
Yeah, that happened. I'm sorry, but that happened. People, they give them morphine and insulin.
What?
Yeah.
That's common?
Yeah. I've reviewed charts. In this situation, they gave her a DNR, which is do not resuscitate. Meaning if they look like they're dying, you don't do anything, which that was not the case. So they're suing for battery, which is one way of getting around the PrEP Act, because the PrEP Act is very hard to penetrate. The PrEP Act protects everybody, all the doctors, all the hospitals from any wrongdoing during COVID. So it's been this big challenge trying to get around the PrEP Act. And this case has hope of getting around the PrEP Act because they're charging for battery, and they're in trial. It started today. It's in Wisconsin. So that gives me hope.
He didn't hear about what Cuomo did in New York and killing all the elderly in the nursing homes during COVID, and what the hospital protocols were doing. Even with the amount of whistleblowers now that have come forward several years later that have said, yeah, this was going on. And Joe Rogan's like, really? Talk about that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, first, of course, I was extremely happy that we received national attention. Praise God, the New American live streamed the trial with the help of CHD, and millions of people saw the trial, which was, that was one of our goals. That's how you wake people up, right? Yeah. And to have it on Joe Rogan, that was Dr. Mary Bowden out of Texas. She's become a friend. I was on her podcast, and that's how she knew of the story, and she chose to share it on Joe Rogan.
Awesome.
But Joe Rogan being shocked, you would think, this guy is one of the people who is awake, right?
You would think.
So for him to be shocked, it shows you how deep the psyop with programming and the controlled media really is. So I was shocked by that also.
So what is the PrEP Act that she mentioned?
Yeah, that's really a great question. So the PrEP Act was passed in December of 2005 it was under the radar, like most of these things, as part of a defense appropriations bill, but it had nothing to do with defense. What it does is anytime the HHS secretary declares a public health emergency, and then the FDA issues emergency use authorization countermeasures, those countermeasures are immune from liability. So, for example, in Grace's case, if we were offered remdesivir and we took it and Grace subsequently died, because she had remdesivir and that was a covered countermeasure, we would not have had a lawsuit. Similarly, if Grace was ever on a ventilator, we would not have a lawsuit because that was also a covered countermeasure with immunity from liability. So praise God, the odds of us getting to this trial.
Talk about the odds.
I mean, it's near zero.
You
so
have
first
the
of all,
numbers.
I've got the numbers here. So first of all, we would have had to survive the PrEP Act, which you can't because it's by definition immunity from liability. So here's where I'm quoting this out of an HBO documentary by the title of Bleed Out. And Steve Burrows did Bleed Out, and he sued Aurora Health in Wisconsin because they maimed his mom. She had a surgery and she didn't die, but he was able to file a medical malpractice lawsuit, went all the way to jury trial and lost, similar to us. Well, he put these statistics together. He said annually in Wisconsin, there's 27,000 patients that are either injured or die in a hospital.
Just in Wisconsin?
Just in Wisconsin.
Okay.
Out of those 27,000, there's 84 lawsuits filed. Out of those 84 lawsuits that are filed, 22 go to trial. So we're in that class. So that's 0.08%. Then out of the 22, 3 win in favor of the plaintiff. So that's 13.3% of the 0.08%. So you can see, statistically, it was near impossible. Even worse than that, the cost of the lawsuit was $1 million. The most we could win, because it's a medical malpractice lawsuit, is $750,000. So it is truly, it was a David versus Goliath. God, of course, is still in charge. He got us into this. And so what I see now is he obviously thinks that more people are going to be saved by a loss than a win.